after we got married, and then moved to my partner's place. My daughter was then like, I didn't know you were going to move there. Like, she didn't understand how that would change life in terms of where do I see daddy on the weekend? Where do we now spend time together mostly?
To my beautiful girls, your smiles warm my heart. You turn bad days into good evenings. I promise to listen, to share, to guide, to provide, to protect, to love. All that is mine is yours. This is Stories by Emeka, the Fatherhood series.
Have you done much golf before?
Nah. Nah. Been to one of these places once in life before.
Just getting the player mode ready.
Cool.
Games. Longest drive. Let's do that.
Whoa! I beg you, cameraman, tell me you got that. Because that might be as good as it gets. Please tell me you got that. Oh, mate.
Is that your best one?
Bro, that was beautiful. I didn't hit the green. That was the furthest it traveled. That was the straightest it traveled.
Okay, looks like I'm up.
Wait,
Yeah.
Come on, sir.
I'm up.
Is this you?
Yeah, let me go. So, yeah. In regards to fatherhood.
Yeah.
So tell me about how many kids you've got. Let's start with that.
Yeah, so my oldest is a 12-year-old girl.
Shocking.
My next two are twins, a boy and a girl.
Nice.
So 3 children.
The age. What's the age? Age
so
ranges.
the oldest is 12, and the twins are 15 months.
15 months.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's a whole different experience within itself because of the age gap.
100%. 100%. Fully. It's really just interesting to kind of try, and I think probably for my children, most of my oldest, I guess, just that difference in time between when she existed and when her brother and sister came into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start off with fatherhood.
Yeah.
So give me 3 words you'd use to describe yourself
Yeah.
as a father. So any 3 words.
100% committed. So for me, commitment is key.
Come on.
Shots. Check this guy.
Look at that.
I'm committed.
What's that?
150.
OB, you've got work.
What?
You've got work to do. You've got work to do.
I said 5 shots, man, go 167 yards. Why? Committed was the first word.
Yeah.
Because definitely, I think my children are my children. Like, they're my life. So I'm committed to them. It gets better, you know. Stop it. We're still on the first word, and Emeka's still hitting yards out here. Oh, wait. Ooh. How you hit the same distance?
Boy.
Okay, progress. It's coming.
But yeah, so commitment.
Word. Yeah?
You said commitment.
Commitment. Second word is, I guess, just knowing that integrity, I would say, because I think you've got to know that when you're doing what you're doing as a parent, you are being true to yourself, regardless of what anybody says, and true to your children, because you know you want to look at yourself in the mirror and know that the way you're parenting your child is the best way you can.
Yeah.
And yeah, just, I guess, I don't know, another word would be, just, I would do anything for my kids. I don't know if that word is sacrifice.
Yeah.
I would do absolutely
Yeah, that's an
anything for my
important word,
kids.
isn't it? Because
100%.
there's a lot of sacrifice involved with just being a father.
Yeah.
That selflessness is taken away from you.
Yeah.
So the responsibility that you have for this whole human being that you've created with somebody, you know, it's it can't go understated.
At all.
You know?
Yeah.
You're up.
Jeez.
181.
What? Was that the last one?
181.
Flipping heck.
181. Let's see what you know, we're here for a bit. So
We're here for a bit. We're definitely going to need that time.
You know?
We're going to need that time. Yeah.
Let me give you concentration so you can get that first shot out of the way.
Yeah, no questions now. We'll see. Oi,
We call that on a false start.
Does it even record? Nothing even happens. Let's get the knees right. Get some distance.
Okay.
Whoa!
Okay.
He's trying to ting. 100
that?
yards? 100 yards? At least 100 yards.
No, it's not.
But that's a 100 mark.
We've got the technology here to
What's he trying to tell me?
disputes. It's
80 yards.
82 yards.
Oh, it's fine.
82
We travelled small.
You know. But in terms of let's take it back. So, your eldest.
Yeah.
How old is she?
12.
12.
Yeah.
So 12 years. So
Yeah.
talk to me about that period of the relationship you was in at the time, and
Yeah.
when you found out you was going to be a father.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? What was the things that you was
Yeah, I mean,
going through?
I won't lie. There was fear
Okay.
because it was just a sense of responsibility that I all of a sudden had for this human being
Yeah.
that didn't ask to be brought into the world, right?
Mm.
So like, how do I navigate this? But there was also like, I think I've used the term like an anxious excitement.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because so it's the fear mixed in with the anxiety, but like excitement at, like I'm responsible for this human being coming into the world. And what are all the possibilities that come with that? Do you know what I mean? Like everything that you then help that person become. There was fear with that, obviously, because it was, I don't know if I can provide, like, am I ready?
Yeah.
You know, so that whole thing was just, what comes with this? You know, how do I get ready? And so the conversations I was having with her mum were like, I'm going to need to get a second job. Like, I'm going to need to make sure there's enough money in the house. We lived separately at the time, so need to pattern up the finances to make sure you could rent a place so we could live together. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking about all these things, and we weren't even married at the time.
Yeah.
So it then became this thing like, what do I do? How do I navigate this whole process? And consciously thinking, I guess, where I was emotionally with her mum, like, am I prepared to make a commitment to this, to this woman that I care about, and does that commitment, is it the right one to make? So it mixed up in all of that. As much as I knew, like, I was excited about this baby and there was this anxiety as well, it was, can I do this together with her mum?
Yeah.
And will this work?
Yeah.
So I think it was all of that. And do I have the resources to be able to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and when she came,
Yeah.
what was that feeling?
Jeez. Yeah. Excitement, hella excitement. Because, I mean, at that point, the anxiety is not even there. You're just looking at your baby and thinking, you know what I mean? Whatever, I can't tell you exactly what words I was feeling, but I was just happy. It was a mixture of happiness, obviously, receiving. I was there in the room as she was born, and just happiness and seeing her. But yes, just knowing that this human being had now been created, and then holding them, you all of a sudden get this immediate sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like it just hits you there, boom. She's in the world now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Playtime's over.
Yeah. So yeah, when she came, it was excitement. And since then, I mean, my daughter's a joy anyway as a human being. She's grown up, I think. Really beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if you can generate some of that love and passion into this stroke.
Okay, knees in, swing.
That looks like a 60-yarder.
Wait, yeah, it dropped earlier than it needed to drop.
Okay.
Wait, it was a bit, what? That was longer than...
That's your best.
A bit longer.
That's your best one yet.
Okay.
You got 100 yards to go to catch up to me.
Yeah, but still, I'm taking my progress.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. Hit the first one, got the second one. Let's go for the third. Let's see what happens here.
I see you've got the leg movement. You've been watching a few
trying to
YouTube
make
videos.
sure. Defo. To get them tutorials in, man. Okay, let's just go for it. Hey!
Swing and a miss.
Full swing. What is that? Okay, we're coming. Hey!
Another false start.
Another false start. Chill.
Do you prefer it on the tee or not, rather than the green?
Yeah, I mean, I've had more hits, I think, with it on the tee, which is why, as much as that's not happened in the last 2 shots, it feels a bit, I don't know if the word is better, but yeah. That's definitely not going anywhere, but it was a hit.
So being a dad, what were the, because we'll come on to sort of present time with your current children and twins, but in terms of being a dad at that period, what did you find the most challenging? And then we'll get onto some of the most joyful things that happen sort of being a dad. But what did you find straight away that, wow, this is not easy, this is real life?
Yeah. So at the time, I guess, in the process of patterning up and trying to make sure there were finances in place and resources provided for my family, I had to get a second job. And so getting the second job, it was the juggle automatically of, like, you know, I was doing my day job. I would shift from that into, you know, coming home, kissing my wife at the time, kissing my daughter, going off to night work. And so that challenge of feeling like, how much time am I giving to this family? How much time am I actually spending with them? That quality time that you often want. Yeah. And particularly as daughter had just been born. Yeah. So essentially leaving my partner at the time to bring up this child, you know, and a lot of times being tired as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're coming home and not actually being in the headspace to fully engage and give yourself. So I think at the time it was definitely that kind of balance in knowing, okay, look, I'm going out to try and provide for these 2 human beings. Yeah. But actually when I'm coming home, not the provision in terms of the emotional support and the practical support for her mum at the time wasn't fully there. Yeah. So I think that was a significant one for me. And so then how you then engage emotionally, I think, is also a challenge, because you're like, okay, you either try and overdo it, be like, okay, I'll take the baby on the weekend, you just sleep, this, or do you know what I mean? You maybe, you know, on the flip side of that, you're just too tired to engage sometimes. Yeah.
No, because one of the things that I remember is like when, similar to you, daughter's 11, eldest daughter's 11, and so my first reaction was like, I can't have the same mindset that I used to have in regards to just thinking for yourself, because everything up until that point was just about yourself, you know, just fresh out of uni, working, and then straight away it's like I'm looking at what used to be enough for me. It's not going to be enough for this particular situation. Definitely. So it's like, same with you, second job. You know, I was full-time in youth work at the time, and then I had to get I got my SIA badge, and then I was on the doors, you know, and it's like, you're working during the day, and at the same time you have to come home, spend some time, but know that you're going back out because you want to be able to provide maximum. But then the question is, similar to you, is that what impact is that now having in terms of the amount of, because I call it present but absent, if that makes sense. You know, you're present, but you can find that you can also be emotionally absent and detached from what's actually happening in terms of the amount of support that you're given to your partner at the time, and the amount of support that obviously you're providing for your daughter.
Definitely.
But yeah, you got two more shots.
See if we can get up to 100
yards.
See
what you're gonna get.
We might try it off the green. Maybe something different.
$88 to beat.
Couple practice swings. 2. No way. No way. I mean, let's just go back to what we know. Swing back. Hold this.
What is that?
Nah.
Okay, not too bad.
40.
You got the height, but not the
the length.
Not the distance.
That's it.
That's roughly about 40.
About 40 yards. Okay.
Last one. I think you got one more.
Is it?
Yeah.
4 shots. Ding, 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 ding.
So
ding,
in regards to framework of fatherhood, like fictional, or someone real that you can sort of relate to and say, you know what, this is the framework that I want to use to becoming a father. So for me, it was, I used to look at, remember My Wife and Kids?
Yeah.
So Michael Kyle.
Yeah.
Because he could connect with his daughters, but at the same time, he had this seriousness about him and the life lessons that he used to give. So these are some fictional sort of fatherhood figures that I used to look at, saying, you know what, this is the model that I would want to emulate, because I want my daughters to be able to come to me for any kind of problems. Uncle Phil, Fresh Prince, you know, in terms of that, that hard working, you know, he did what he needed to do and he provided that sort of support and guidance. So those are my fictional ones. So let's, who would you say first?
Fictional ones?
Yeah.
I mean, similar actually, to be honest, because I think similar kind of shows that I watch, like obviously I watched the Cosby Show as well. Fresh Prince, so like Uncle Phil as well. I think what was good about those shows when you watch them, you like you said, Mex, like these are men who, like in the midst of the comedy, you saw like a sense of like real commitment to their children, right? Like there was a sense of, like I am with these people 100%. They're my, you know, like how we kind of say your ride or dies, but like these are your forever your day ones, like the people that you know you will love and you will cherish for your life. So definitely, I think those kind of characters were people that I would watch and think actually that whilst I'm laughing, these are people that gave me some level of reference to what a father should be like. As much as there was fun in the family, there was also a look, there is something to be learnt about this thing that you've done, right? So you always kind of saw those examples and rich examples coming through, I think, often in those shows.
I think that's a good point, because it's like we grew up watching these things, and so it's like without any other context. Obviously, obviously I had my dad around, so you have a specific way of looking at what fatherhood is. You know, from my father's perspective, in terms of it was just that traditional old school Nigerian sort of breadwinner. You know, often traveling.
That's it.
You know, and so it's like you look at it, you break down your relationship, and you say, it's like, how much are you actually communicating? How much does this individual actually know about me? But in terms of, from that perspective, that's all we saw as fatherhood in regards to just being a breadwinner and doing what you need to do for your family. But that's a very, very one-sided way of looking at it. It's like, think of it as a cake, and you know, that's just a slice of it. There's so much more that we're learning, and it's like we're in this continuous journey of trying to figure it out. But let me let you take your last shot, and then you can tell me some real life inspirations of fatherhood that you have.
No height, but distance.
Okay, what have we got there?
It's where it drops, isn't it?
That's your best one.
Yeah, boy.
99.
9 yards. Progress. Oh.
But so in terms of your
real life example.
Real life people who are.
I
think I won this round.
Oh, is it?
Some real life examples. Who would you say?
Interestingly for me, I guess, so my story is slightly different, Emeka. Like my
You're back up.
Oh, is it me again?
Yeah.
My you know, like typical Nigerian families, but whatever typical means. My dad was married to 2 wives, he lived in a different part of Nigeria, so he wasn't around. So I often found, like, interestingly for me, I was always looking to men who, you know, like in my life, be it like I had my mum's brothers, who weren't parents at the time, but who lived with us in Nigeria. And so for me, they set examples of discipline and respect. So there wasn't much like in terms of the emotional aspect of it. I just knew I had to behave. Right. So they were the ones that kind of set those examples in that front. When we moved to the UK, and I had a group of friends as an adult, I found there like some good friends. A friend of mine who is one of my children's or my twins' godfather actually, and he had his son from one relationship, had his daughters from a previous relationship. But I often saw this sense of like, anytime he had a gathering, all those kids were there, the partners were there, and I was just like, this looks like a mess. But the truth was, there was love, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, we'd be coming and jamming and having barbecues in his house, and he would just be relating to everyone at the time. And for me, those examples of commitment, just a kind of emotional giving of yourself even to your kids, I always saw that in his interaction with his children. I always saw like also a sense of discipline. Like he had this kind of good balance of banter, almost like the Michael Kyle thing, like banter, but telling his kids off in the same breath. So I'm joking with you, but know that I'm not joking with you. Know that this is a serious matter we're discussing. And he would do that even in a way that wasn't even embarrassing his kids, because he would do that in front of other colleagues, friends, like, you know, and it wasn't ever like, you can't imagine the kid feeling, well, I couldn't tell what his kids felt, but he wasn't embarrassing them. You know, they could feel like they could still stand confident in front of their dad, hear what he was saying to them, and kind of walk away, right? So yeah, that friend of mine, and yeah, subsequently, like other friends of mine that I've grown up with and met, whom have set kind of just examples of fatherhood that I've seen, have just kind of felt, I didn't get this from anywhere else, and I actually admire what this friend of mine is doing, how he's doing it, even in the midst of circumstance and situation. Yeah.
All right.
It's me again. Am I up? I'm up.
Listen.
These 100 yards must be beaten.
You need to break that 100 yards. Seriously.
It's coming. I'm feeling it. Let's just get this stance right.
Loosen up.
Just relax. Relax.
Okay.
We're getting the length. Need to get that height and that travel.
So I think that broke it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
112 yards.
We need to
112 yards.
I think Obi wants some evidence that he's.
I beg you, sir. We're putting progress today. There's a couple more shots coming. Let's get some shots out the bag. Is it me again?
Yeah. Let's get this four out of there.
Jeez.
But over the years, in terms of with your daughter Rebecca, how have you found sort of managing being a father of a girl? Because you know, speaking to friends who have sons, it's like everyone says it's you know, it's different. You know, so it's like what are some of the things you were concerned about, knowing that, okay, you know what, I'm bringing up a girl in this world, some of the challenges that we know women face, especially as sort of young black women. What were your thought processes when she was younger, and obviously now that she's sort of growing to be a young woman?
I guess, I mean, significantly, that I realized more of my fears kicked in after her mum and I broke up.
Okay.
So that was where I realized, actually, I'm really afraid of this, I'm really afraid of that. Because I guess obviously when you're in a unit as a family with your partner and your child, you feel a little bit more solid and certain, right? So yeah, I think the fears that then kicked in became, you know, will my daughter have like insecurities around, you know, the love and confidence of her father? Will she seek that love elsewhere because of it? Will it just kind of unearth a range of different, you know, anxieties and fears and stuff? So I think a lot of those things kind of unearthed themselves in to some extent, I guess, you imagine you then feel like you're trying to do more than you need to. You know, you're like, okay, let me go into overdrive and make sure I message her every day. Let me make sure I'm always there when she picks up the phone. Like,
you know what? I think it's because society has drummed it into our heads that like there's so many deadbeat fathers out there that are not engaged, especially when that breakup happens. So it's like sometimes it might even overcompensate, and so you know, I need to do this because I'm not there 24s.
100%.
So no, sorry.
No, totally, man. So literally that was it, and I often got told, like, by members of my family, and I think, I mean, you take what people say, you know, you listen to it and you try and sift out what's constructive, obviously, right? But like, you're there and just thinking, okay, like, am I actually overdoing this, right? But just, I think the thing I then had to just realize, and constantly even now have to realize, is she just needs to know I'm there, right? And whatever there means, okay, daddy's available on the phone, or he will call you back. Daddy will message you, daddy will pick you up. That during the time that we have together, I am 100% in this space with you, not just on my phone or doing something else, and also respecting that time, right?
Yeah.
So saying, if I am needing to be on my phone, baby, this is why, and I'm coming back. So she understands that I'm present with you in this space, whatever it is we're doing. So I think that's what I had to kind of get myself to, and constantly still having to, because obviously when you live separate from your child, there's just this constant fear of just thinking, at what point, like, does your child start thinking, okay, he's not here enough, or he's not providing enough, or whatever. Like, you just don't know where your
thoughts. These are valid thoughts that we all have.
You just don't know where your kids are in their head, right? As much as you feel like I'm doing this, I'm trying to give 100% of myself.
Yeah.
You just don't know where your kids are sometimes. You know?
And you start to, you're always wondering, is it enough?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Just constantly.
But the question now is, are you good enough to get past 112?
Guy, man. This actual guy. Oh no, that was not it. It's coming. Cameron, make sure you get the shots though. No, step back. Cheese and bread. What is happening?
It's not even registering these ones. So just keep going until it registers.
It's literally just not even recognize nothing has happened here. I'm bending too much. Stay up, relax. Let's try and get the shots in. Hey.
Strike one.
Was a hit.
What have we got?
A good one.
So with co-parenting,
Yeah.
so you've now, so moving down the timeline,
Yeah.
so now sort of broken up with your partner at the time.
Yep.
How was that in terms of your arrangement, sort of co-parenting? Were you on the same page? Was there drama? What was your mindset at the time? Would you say there was growth, or was it just, you know what, let's just do what we can for the child? What was the situation at the time?
I mean, I was thankful. I was really thankful, and even now, I'm still thankful that. I mean, from then, obviously, we were both trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
My daughter was in a very emotional place because she just couldn't understand why she was 2 at the time and why dad was in a different place.
Okay.
Then she had to leave at a certain time and dad wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really emotional for all of us, really. And we were just figuring it out. But what I'm thankful for, as I was saying, was that her mum was just flexible in that process.
Okay.
And really kind of ensured that Rebecca and I had that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we ensured every weekend that she was with me. There were moment days, because they lived close, I was able to take her to school on certain days. And so yeah, there was definitely like a sense of, you know, unity in making sure our daughter knew I was still around. Because obviously my daughter lived with her mum.
Yeah.
So make sure I was still around, I was still involved. Yeah, so that was an ongoing thing, and I think that really helped me, even in the early days, as much as it was difficult for I guess everybody involved, to just ensure that the relationship was still there, and some level of foundation was still being built. Because I think that was, again, like the fear, like the thing I was saying to you about fears, Emeka. It was thinking that if I don't start, like, my daughter would just feel like my dad wasn't there, like, or he wasn't, you know, he didn't care. And I really want that foundation to be strong. So there, where I was emotional, it was like, oh God, you know, what kind of dad am I going to be if I don't even have this kind of relationship that I've always wanted with my children? Before my children came, I was always like, I need to have a good relationship with my children. I was always saying that because my dad wasn't there as much. And so I was definitely, it just brought up this sense of emotion from my kind of childhood growing up, where my dad wasn't available, and I was just like, that can't be the same for my children. They need to know that I'm available. They need to know I'm emotionally engaged with their feelings.
Situations,
you know. So yeah, when my daughter was crying, there's times that she'd be crying, and I would just like, there were times I would just stand there in my car. Either I would just be in tears myself, or I would just be like holding my child and just not knowing what to do. But saying to her, I think we needed to be flexible with her, particularly, like, whatever you want to do is fine. Like, we had to just say that to her. Say, like, if you go mummy, it's fine. If you want to stay with daddy, it's fine. Like, she just had to know that whatever she's decided to do at that time is fine. I think that over the years, I think has helped her a bit, because she just knows that there isn't a wrong decision to be made.
Yeah.
Whatever decision is what decision is, and your mum and I will just make that work. Yeah. Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. We gotta get this 100 yards. Chineke.
It's not an easy skill to master.
It's really not.
Especially if it's your first time.
This is it. This sport that hasn't been played for more than an hour.
The ball's trying to go back to base. It's trying to go back to base.
So it's these.
Okay.
Whoa!
Okay. I have to step back to admire
Please,
that.
I beg you,
it's
please.
still not
gone more than 100, more than what I did before. What did I get? 112 yards
112.
Did I? That might still be me, you know, sir. Think I get one more shot?
Oh yeah, because he hasn't been registering.
Yeah. Man, I have to just drop that shade in there, you know. Let's keep this momentum. No, coming.
Okay. That might be the one.
Slightly further.
No.
Further.
87.
So from where it drops, right? Final score 112. Okay.
Okay.
Mackie,
So
you're up.
let's see how far I can go with this.
Oh.
It's not a great shot, but so moving forward, you're now in a new relationship. What's the dynamic like with you being a parent? And obviously she knows that you're a dad. What was her take on you being a father first? Because sometimes I feel like it can be quite flippant in regards to there's not much thought around it. It's like obviously a lot of people have been in previous relationships, ended up having children in those relationships, and then obviously meet new people, and it's almost become the norm. But it's like obviously as we've kind of grown, there's layers to this thing in terms of when you bring a child into a new relationship. So at the start of your new relationship, what was that dynamic like?
I mean, yeah, it was interesting. I think, whoa, stop it. I mean, why am I even here? What was that?
It's never going to count it if it's going to, okay.
How is that not even better than the previous one?
It's not. It looks like it should be.
Like it should be.
But it's not.
You're in the lead. Yeah, what was that dynamic like? I guess, yeah, it was interesting because I think Travels. Yeah, these shots are deceiving sometimes. I feel like, yeah. So basically, I told my partner, I think as soon as we started dating, that I have a child.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember like her initial kind of reaction, but I think it was definitely an adjustment for her because one, I don't think she dated anyone with a child before.
Yeah.
And so it was like recognizing that this person was a priority to me. My daughter was my priority. And yeah, I think early days was just, I mean, small practical things like, okay, look, the weekend is my daughter's. I can't see you this weekend.
Yeah.
And
so what was that like? Have you had to cancel plans because something's come up?
Yeah.
And how did that go?
It was fully like, and it wasn't the best. I won't even lie to you. Like one of the moments was like a quick text, and it's like, okay, I know we had to meet, but I've got my daughter's coming this weekend. Her mum's asked me, and for me, it was still adjustment phases of like my daughter. I hadn't fully, and I don't think if you ever get that makeup, like you will have this as well, right? This sense of if you let your child down, even on the random occasion that you weren't supposed to have them that weekend, that will still count as a fail against you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because you're the one that's coming into the situation to come and pick them up or to come and do something.
And then if you said no, just be like, well, you messed up, Dad. Like, you were supposed to be here. So for me, it was like, who's giving right now, and what's the sacrifice to be made? It was like, well, I've got to say to my partner, my girlfriend at the time, I'm sorry, I've got to have my daughter this weekend. And it was a text. Oof. So it wasn't great. It's like these things that you learn to get better at. Like, I should have called, I should have had a combo, explain the situation.
Because from their perspective, it's like, you know, you're building up to looking forward to seeing this person that you're with, isn't it? And so it's like,
Exactly, because I think, because early days, I wasn't ready to be telling, to introduce them yet.
Yeah.
And I think it was almost like, it's interesting to say, and I think, maybe I love you, but these early days, you are still trying to figure out where you are as a couple.
Yeah.
Right? And whether this person that was in your life at this stage, that traveled.
Do you know what? It gets the high, isn't it?
Yeah.
But sometimes that's what's
that's
the deceiving thing.
That's it.
But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so it's early days where, like, I think, you're still trying to figure out you know, how long is this person in it for the long run with me?
Yeah.
Like, are you in this with me and helping bring up this child? Like, and I knew when I was getting into a relationship, I wasn't getting into a relationship with somebody just on a temporary basis. If I'm getting into a relationship, then let me explore this person is happy to do life with me.
Yeah.
But also help me bring up this child. So you're still kind of figuring that out before you start thinking sometimes, do you want to introduce your child to this person? Like, I think for me, I was definitely in that headspace of, you know, do I want to introduce you to my child if I don't know you're fully on this journey with me? Ooh.
So what was your decision process at the point where you said, you know what, this is the right time? Is that when you were sure about her in terms of where this was going?
Yeah.
So what was your thought process?
Yeah, so I guess it was certainly some certainty about her, because I think what I saw in her was someone who, in terms of her family, there you go, in terms of her family, was committed to her family, had, like, you know, definitely family values in terms of just giving time for her family. When there were events that was happening, she was always giving herself 100% to things. She was always interested in the well-being of my daughter, and asking about her. But also, to some extent, even organizing me when I had to kind of make sure. It's like, do you not have to get that thing for your daughter? Have you done that thing yet?
Yeah.
So there was interest.
So she was a keeper.
Yeah, man. So all these values that kind of came up, all these kind of practical actions that also made you think, actually, I can see this woman. And actually, it was through conversation, increasingly, every time I kind of talked to her about my child and my commitment to her, there was a willingness to kind of participate, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you just have this sense, you kind of get a sense from somebody when they don't really want to be involved in your situation.
Yeah.
And I think with her, I realized she wanted to be. She's like, I'm here in your situation with you.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to go 100, whatever 100 was. And obviously, that kind of evolves over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was in it for the long run, which is where I then kind of said, okay, cool, let's introduce you to my little madam.
Well, at what age did this happen?
Ooh, taking me back years, Max. I remember now. I want to say my daughter was about 6 or 7 at the time. And we'd probably been dating, my partner and I, at the time, I'd probably been dating for maybe nearly a year.
Did your daughter understand at that age that this is somebody that you're involved with and it's not just a friend?
Yeah, so therefore the first introduction was friend.
Yeah.
The first one was like, this is daddy's friend.
So it was the easiest one.
I'm gonna lie to you, man. The first part was this is daddy's friend, because I felt like it had to be stages, right? So I introduced her at stages, so like, yeah, this is daddy's friend. And then it moved to like...
so new, man.
Yeah, is it me now?
Yeah.
168 yards. Okay, Max. Maybe I can catch up now. This is daddy's friend. Okay, that was a hit.
Yeah, daddy's friend.
Yeah, this is daddy's friend. Because I guess I just wanted there to be no pressure on almost like my daughter to accept straight away. Mm-hmm. If it's just a friend, then daddy has loads of friends, right? Yeah. This is just a friend that daddy spends a bit more time with. So that initial introduction there was about with no pressure on my daughter. And I guess obviously my partner was understanding of the situation at the time. And then gradually then became like, look, baby, this is daddy's girlfriend. Like, you know, I love her, I care about her. And I think it was interesting to see, like, from when I told my daughter this is daddy's friend to when this is daddy's girlfriend, there were just moments, Emeka, where I just remember my daughter, like, she would want to get my attention and she would literally come and stand in front of my partner, be like, Daddy, I was talking to you. Literally, like, full body in front of my partner, like, pay attention to me, right? What I have to say is important, even though your girlfriend is here, kind of thing. So I literally remember those moments. I was thinking, right, this has changed, because they were fine. There was no pressure to accept.
When it was friendship.
When it was friendship. And when it became, this is almost like someone in my territory now. Which was just an interesting time to navigate, you know, and trying to get my daughter just to be like, look, I love you, I love her, Daddy, I love you both, right? There isn't I don't have a preference, but, you know, just try and talk to me. But yeah, you're talking to a 7-year-old, right? And she's trying to navigate that whole process in her head at the same time. So it was an interesting time.
What have you got?
Come on. This might take a while.
You're good.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So in regards to sort of navigating towards marriage now, all right? So this is no longer a friend. It's no longer someone that I'm seeing. It's no longer a girlfriend. You've decided to propose that you're getting married. What was the reaction of Rebecca at this point?
Let's think back for a sec. What was the reaction? I can't remember that. I'm trying to remember that, you know. That's a while ago, so you hit me that one. I think...
Because you know the resistance you got when you said, this is now my girlfriend, for instance, and then she was now wanting to get that attention from you. Was there any kind of reaction once you said that? And what was their relationship like as well?
Yeah, I think, so what was interesting at the time, like in the build-up, it was like, so my partner at the time was amazing. Like, she spent loads of time with Rebecca. She would just take her out. At the time she would, you know, they would come back just laughing and having had fun. There are times that she would have organized something and I would find out, like, this is what 3 of us are doing. And she and Rebecca would know about it, and I'm just like the stranger in the room. So all those kind of little beautiful moments were happening. I could see a relationship developing between both of them. So yeah, as you were saying that, it just took me back to just trying to remember, actually. I think I remember telling Rebecca, we were sat on the bed at the time in North London, and I said to her, look, Daddy's gonna propose to Auntie Stacey. And she was just like non-committed, no relation, no emotion.
No reaction.
She was like, okay. And I was like, okay, good, okay, bad. And in my head, like, I never said it out loud. But yeah, it didn't, there was nothing that came with it. And I think at the time, I just wasn't sure what that meant. Sometimes my daughter is like that. Like, she will just give a response that but often doesn't betray her emotion. To just try and show a kind of neutral place. And you sometimes think, I think I know this with my daughter, sometimes it's I either don't want to, it's generally not trying to convey their real emotion at the time, right? Or maybe trying to figure it out in their head. So there wasn't a kind of outright forthright emotion that I could see, I could tell. It was just this is what's happening, and she was just kind of neutral at the time. But it was just, I think over time, she she maybe started asking some questions about it.
Yeah.
But wasn't sure about everything. So I think, interestingly, the things I do remember a bit more clearly, Mecca, were after we got married and then moved to my partner's place. My daughter was then like, I didn't know you were going to move there.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't understand how that would change life in terms of where do I see daddy on the weekend?
Yeah.
Where do we now spend time together mostly? What does that mean in terms of...
Because she's always known that space as her space. So obviously the fact that, okay, through marriage, you're now going to be there. So did you feel like, was that a major concern for you, the fact that she even brought it up?
Yeah, 100%. Because I guess for me, even when I lived in North London at the time, she knew that she had a room, she had her own space, right? I got married, we're moving to a 2-bed. I wanted her to feel like I can come into that space and still feel like I have my own space, even if I'm only here on a part-time basis, on a short-term basis, I should say. And so, yeah, it definitely was, because I just wanted her to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, how do I recreate or help her engage in her brain, like, actually, this is your second room, this is your second bedroom. At daddy's place, at daddy Auntie Stacey's place. So yeah, how trying to have those conversations in terms of how we can do up the room, or have things that she likes that are comfortable, or books that she likes, and do, the furniture, etc., etc.
Yeah. Okay, so now, because my thing is, it's trying to figure out, so at the point where I've got married, and sort of with Summer now, I'm trying to make sure that she doesn't feel excluded in any way. Because with the sort of this step dynamics, one of the things that we need to sort of pay attention to is all the emotions that are involved for all parties, really. Obviously, your current partner has their feelings, and that can be communicated to you directly. But one of the things that I'm always conscious of is, how could this potentially be affecting the child? Because you almost have to, it's like you put your emotions to the back burner because you're trying to accommodate everyone as the central person in this situation. And then you now have to think on behalf of your child and how are they feeling in this new dynamic as well, because I think it's important to add that within the mix. So now that she's felt like that and she said this, fast forward a little bit. Babies are announced. You're about to be a father of 3. From what you skipped to, straight to 3.
Just jump from 1 to 3.
But yeah, before we go into sort of Rebecca's reaction in terms of for you and your wife, and what was the joy around finding that out? Actually,
yeah, it was weird. So like, so my wife came into the car from her scan because of this period of life of COVID that we're living in. I couldn't go in to the scan with her. She came out of the scan, she showed me one scan, and it was just one baby on it. And I was excited, I was like, happy, about to hit the roof. Then she starts saying, can you see there's T1 at the bottom of that picture? I was like, stop being cryptic, just tell me what's going on, I don't understand. Then she brings me the other one, I was like, that one said T2. And she's like, we're having twins. I was like, yeah. I wouldn't lie to you, and I've told her this, right? Literally, I've said this to my wife. My literal gut initial reaction in my head was, I have to provide for these children. I need to get another job. Literally, that was the first
automatic
thing. Literally, man. Like I tell you, as I was kind of working through emotion, the first literal thoughts in my head that occurred whilst hitting the roof was, okay, I need to make sure I provide for these people. Right? And in that, and then, the mix of excitement and hugging my wife and literally hitting the roof of the car at the time, all those things kind of occurred almost simultaneously. But yeah, it was surreal, because, I mean, you don't have twins until you have twins, innit? And then you have to deal with that emotion.
Wow. So, married. Twins are coming along. You've got a preteen now who's going through different emotions, different things. How did she take the news?
So we told her when she came to stay at ours one weekend. My wife is amazingly creative. She created a booklet of like all her, a couple of Rebecca's pictures. And in the booklet, I think the final booklet was a scan.
Yeah.
And it was the scan of the babies. And so the booklet kind of told a story about Rebecca's growing up, and then, you know, the twins now being expected.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting because I think Rebecca saw it, and I think she initially didn't get it, and then she was like, and then we said, "Oh, you're having a twin brother and sister," and then I think she just fell back on the chair, very kind of emotionally, elaborately, and then just kind of smacked. I think there's a thing about smacking things or hitting things between me and her. She just started hitting the chair, and so it seemed like there was a level of excitement. And then I think that kind of spurred a range of kind of conversations that we had around when they would come in, and those kind of practical things I think she was trying to understand at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the twins arrived,
Yeah.
That initial bedroom that you said was going to be Rebecca's.
Yeah.
So for me, straight away, like I said, when I'm in the
Conversation.
mindset of the child, these
Yeah.
are the things that I think about straight away.
Yeah,
So obviously, my situation with me and my wife is slightly different.
Yeah.
So I was living in Romford in a one bedroom. So
Yeah.
it's like when I'm looking after, when summer's with me, weekends, half terms, or during the week, whatever the situation may be, this is the shared space that we had.
Yeah.
And so when we decided that, okay, we wanted to buy somewhere, one of my things was that, okay, we need big enough space that can make Summer feel included in this new setup. You know, because even with your wife, even with the wives, for instance, it's like, if she moved in with me, it's like it would be vice versa. I'd want her to feel like, okay, this is part of your home. This is your home as well, obviously, because Summer's would be used to this.
Exactly.
You know, so in that situation now, you now need to create a nursery. What is the dynamic? Knowing that, okay, you've got twins, and when Rebecca comes, where is she going to be, and how does she fit into this new picture?
Yeah. It's a good question, Max. So yeah, definitely, that was something I was kind of agonizing over, because you're constantly just in the space as a parent, as a father, and how you include your children, and you don't make them feel like the outsider in the family. So that was significant for me. So yeah, I think my initial kind of reaction and approach was to talk to my daughter and say, look, okay, baby, look, the twins are coming. This nursery will be there. It will be a space they will use at some point. And I tried to involve her in creating that nursery. So the conversation was like, what should we, sending her images of how we could paint the walls, or what color could it be? Thinking of, okay, how do we make it practical space for a space that both twins and her could share? And so thinking, okay, here's a sofa bed. Should we think about what kind of sofa bed we should get? The decor of the place, so like the kind of general furnishings and stuff. So try to involve her in that conversation, so she felt actually, my dad has taken my thoughts into consideration, and is actively trying to accommodate her, and actually trying to accommodate her siblings. So the twins didn't sleep in that room. They slept in our bedroom for a while, but I think it was important for Rebecca to know, one, maybe some idea of timescale when this was going to happen, but also even knowing within that timescale how I can be part of that process. So it wasn't just like, oh wait, the twins are here, my room's gone, nobody asked me any questions. I just had to kind of start sleeping in the living room on the sofa bed. I wanted her to be actively part of that conversation. And also at points trying to involve my partner in that conversation as well, so she could kind of contribute to the wider conversation as well.
Because it's you have to be careful. Within these kind of contexts, because they're growing, and I feel like as they grow, they are starting to understand more of the step dynamics in terms of the family dynamics, and so you start to see a lot more of their emotion. It's a little bit more direct, whereas, for instance, before, Summer will just be sort of nonchalant to the situation and everything's fine. But then within some behavioural characteristics, you have to now realise that, okay, there's emotions here. Are there any conflicts that you see between yourself, your daughter, your wife in regards to in this new environment. So for instance, like at home, there's been a conversation around discipline, for instance, you know, especially in where the space was originally your wife's space, you know, so she has, I guess, boundaries and rules that even that you have to accommodate with, you know, that this is now our shared space, so you now need to realize, okay, so how are we doing this together? So how do you navigate any potential conflicts that has arisen based on that, especially when it comes to potential discipline? Does she have license? Or is she more, you know what, I'm going to let Obi deal with that because I don't want to further, not ruin the relationship, but try and figure out how to make sure that I'm still in the good books within the child, because we're still in that early phases of building a family.
So, I won't lie to you, Max, that part has certainly been tricky to navigate. It's been tricky, particularly because it's exactly as you were saying, right? Like, how do you want to protect their relationship, but also you don't want to undermine her authority, right? Yes, I'm Rebecca's biological dad, but I think it was important also that the relationship between my partner, my wife, and my daughter, was still maintain some level of I can't find the word, had some level of realness to it, because I didn't want it to be, like I said, I didn't want my partner to feel, as much as I didn't want my daughter to feel, like you said, the struggle of, oh, I can't tell her off, or I can't, if Obi isn't there. I think that's the thing that often kind of played out in my head, because I knew I was always be in the house generally, but the points I wouldn't be, right? And so at those points are the points that often my partner would have to be the parent or the adult in the room, right? And so she still had to know what she could or couldn't do. And I don't think there's like, even now I would say it's not clear, it's not perfect. I think what we ended up doing, like as I said, when I was generally in the house or in the room, I would be the one who would, you know, tell Rebecca if she did something, or kind of articulate why she should do something. So, i.e., you know, basic things that you have with your children. Make sure you take your plate to the sink or something. You know, make sure you've packed your clothes away or something. So I think what we kind of agreed, which wasn't, I guess, clear, and maybe my partner did need some clarity with that, was this sense of, you know, some of the simpler things are the easier things you can do with her, so she knows that as well. So like I said, the basic instructional stuff you give your children, make sure you've packed your bag, make sure you've put your plate in the sink and wash your plate, make sure you've cleared up your stuff. So generally all those kind of things are the things I think that were quite significant. And I think if it came to any kind of telling off or discipline, what I always tried to make sure, if my wife had to tell her something, was that we would then have some level of like a three-way conversation. To be like, okay, cool, so what happens? Like if parties, so my wife or my daughter felt grieved, then let's have a three-way conversation together in the same room. So I think, like I said, not clear cut. When I was in the room, I would do it. At points, it was us three together, let's try and figure it out together, kind of thing.
In terms of trying to make sure that moving forward, it's like, because ultimately you're the father of all the children, isn't it? And in the situation, Rebecca's mum, obviously her priority is Rebecca. Would you say you get a sense of that from Stacey in regards to a focus on what the twins need? Obviously there's a big age gap, so everyone will have different needs. For instance, in terms of, do you feel like you need to be wary of how much time you're spending, how much money you're spending, all of these things that you need to think of? But ultimately for us as fathers, they're all my children, isn't it? So it's like, well, how do you navigate dealing with your wife, Rebecca's mum, and that situation in general?
So I think, I mean, good question. I think we had to start navigating this thing from early. So in terms of like, I mean, practical things like finances, obviously, because everyone wants to talk about money. Practical things like finances and time spent, and just having. I think the thing I've realized with my relationship with my wife is that she just wants to be shown respect in terms of communication around the upbringing of my child and her involvement with that. It's like respect, hear my opinion, and so respect for her is at least listen to what I have to say. It is also about, I guess, where now that she is my wife, like involving her in the decision making. But there are also times when I genuinely do have to take that decision for myself and be like, babe, I just have to do this, right? But at least I've explained and we've had a conversation. So I think, there's often this kind of levels of conflict. So money is also a fun conversation, but I think what we've done there is established, here's our kind of family pot. Here's what I'm spending on my child. There may be points at which I have to spend more, right? As far as there isn't conflict in terms of impacting
what's happening here, then there shouldn't be a problem. And so there isn't like an everyday micro conversation about, I've had to spend £30 on Rebecca's shoes because I just had to spend £30 on Rebecca's shoes. There's no need for a combo. Because it just needs to get done, isn't it? Exactly, it needs to get done. I'm protecting what we're having to do together, but also making sure Rebecca has what she needs. And if I need to react and respond to a need or situation, then I can do that, and because she knows that's the situation. That's the situation. So it just brings us full circle because it's like there's so many different layers, and I think we're only just scratching the surface in regards to this thing. But if there's any young person listening, or any sort of fathers who are listening, or anyone who's about to enter a relationship, and either one or both of them are bringing a child into that relationship, what is the advice? What conversations do you think they need to be having to help alleviate some of these complications that come further down the line? Because ultimately, I think within this community, within relationships, it's like a lot of things are overlooked, where we're not having some of the core conversations in that early periods to see if you can actually live with the idea of being with a man who already has a child. Because on the surface, it just seems like, a good idea, because the man could be a good man. He could be a good father. He's doing all the things that you would expect a father to do. And that might be part of the attraction in regards to why you are attracted to this particular individual. So it's understanding that. So what advice would you potentially give?
Boy, that question. that question. I think I'm just kind of reflecting on places where like I could have done things better. As we're talking now, actually. I think, sometimes I think the things that my wife has kind of brought up with me in recent years since we got married has been around kind of scenarios, like if this was to happen, how would you react? I think that's often been an interesting place to kind of have a conversation where I'm just like, I don't know, it's just happened, right? And you're dealing with it in the present. But like genuinely trying to have a conversation and talking through situations that might occur that may, where there may be areas of conflict or disagreement. I think those kind of real kind of conversations and expectations about how we both navigate things together, particularly where, sometimes there may be random situations that you're not expecting. So thinking about those kind of things. I think what I'm grateful for is a partner who is willing to kind of listen and kind of hear my opinion, because I think there's also a challenge in relationship where if you're trying to get into a relationship with somebody and you're with someone who just kind of wants to say what they have to say and not really kind of take into consideration what you feel, then there's a problem, right? So I think my partner, she is certainly someone who will sit, listen, consider what I'm saying, and obviously we can then kind of have a kind of ongoing conversation. So if you're trying to get a relationship with somebody, make sure there's someone who's willing to listen and respects your opinion, your view, but also respects the responsibility and commitment you have to your child. Yeah. Right? Because it's not something to be played with. They're a human being who hasn't been asked to brought into this world. They're now in this situation where they're navigating an adult that isn't their biological parent. Yeah. They've known you for years. And so the dynamics of the whole thing is different for them, you know, and they're constantly going through levels of change themselves. So a partner who is willing to kind of work with you on that journey, you know, who recognizes that there is need for flexibility on certain points. Yeah. Because I think the reality is there will be constant situations that are evolving and changing, and you just have to respond. And that means like the weekend plan just is out the window, right? We're not.
These are the responsibilities.
Like I just have to respond now, but also recognizing, I guess you know, we do have to make time for the siblings that exist in this current relationships as well, and your partner as well. Yeah. So that need for flexibility, that need for someone, you know, someone who's listening and is willing to kind of work alongside you, and that need for. Just someone who's just committed, you know. And I guess it's different because we're committed to our children. We existed together before we then found this partner. Yeah. Then we got married, right? Mm-hmm. So that relationship existed beforehand. So loads of dynamics to kind of take into consideration. But flexibility, coming alongside you, and just I guess this.
And I think it's important to understand that we're still learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no one's been in this situation before. We're literally learning as we're going along. So it's like once we know that we're going to make mistakes. Yeah. But let's let the line of communication be open. Let us have reasonable conversations. Yeah. Sometimes it has to be compromised, and sometimes, like you said, we have to do what we have to do as fathers, because we are thinking of all our children's needs. That's it. And then that's the most important thing. Yeah. Obi?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. But before we go, I need to officially put on record. Actually, let's just show.
Go write the thing on the board.
Let's just pull it
man
here.
Is here hitting 180s.
Let's just pull it there. Obi's biggest. There's 1.2 yards. All right, so Mecca. 188.
Jeez.
Let's see who's going to beat OB's.
Who's on his board next?
But obviously that's the biggest target for anyone that's here. But in terms of my guess, OB is on 112.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have a little prize for at the end of the series. All right, who got the longest drive?
That's one.
But love for coming, OB, man. Appreciate it,
bro. We're here.
On this journey of fatherhood.
Okay.
Nice one, man. You know what? Get some more balls because we still got.
Practice, innit?
Do some more.
Let's get the practice shots.